Dungeons of HInterberg is a single-player action-adventure RPG that just had its first public playtest over the week. I played it and I have some thoughts on it. Now, this playtest only covers around about the first hour or two of the game, so keep in mind that my thoughts are based off a small sample size of the game and that things could change between now and the game's release in July. The basic premise of the game is that there is a town called HInterberg where a bunch of monsters, magic, and dungeons have appeared, and despite the dangers, the town has decided to turn it into a tourist hotspot. Our main character, Louisa, is a lawyer stuck in a bit of a rut when it comes to her life and decides to adventure to HInterberg to get away from it and experience an adventure. As far as premises go, it's an A+. I love it. I feel like there are already so many interesting places that this story could go, and I found that cool in that the character interactions, there was the ability to ask questions that a normal person would ask in these situations, like, are these monsters sentient? I don't know if this hand-wavable answer I got is meant to be taken at face value, so we don't feel bad about like mindlessly cutting down monsters, but when this guy said that they don't seem to retain their memories, the only thing I could think about were the hosts from Westworld. Yeah, they weren't meant to retain their memories either, man. It's too early to say how the storyline will unfold, but suffice to say, I am very intrigued. The game itself follows a similar day, evening, night structure as Persona, and like Persona, it features character relationships. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far, but I still have no idea how in-depth this is going to be. The playtest kind of only scratched the surface of it. One thing I did like was that there was like a list of all the NPCs that could be talked to and you could develop relationships with, and what perks they will unlock, so it helps you like better get informed on your choices. But the characters I've interacted with so far have been good. The majority of the playtest was focused on the gameplay section of the game, and it's a good thing it was because I really like the combat in Dungeons of HInterberg. It's a hack and slash style, and while I wouldn't say there's too much weight or wind up to attacks, but it's not like instant, but the dodging and attacking, they all feel very fluid, and it makes it extremely satisfying to play. It's kind of crazy how I could feel how fluid and how nice it felt all the way from the first tutorial encounter. There is also a camera lock system in combat, which I know isn't new, but I find that there was some games if you lock onto your target character, your attacks will always just try and go for that target, no matter what way your character's facing or what you're trying to do. I like that this isn't the case with this game. I'm able to focus my camera on usually the biggest threat so I can keep an eye on it while I deal with the smaller guys. And I can also move the camera around if I need, and it will automatically snap back the focused enemy. It's nothing groundbreaking, but you'd be surprised at how much these little things add up. Now, one thing I am not a fan of at the moment is the camera itself. This is only a problem when playing with a gamepad or a controller. The sensitivity felt like it was all over the show, and while there is an option to lower it, which is nice, I could never find a setting that worked both for moving the camera and aiming my spells. It isn't so much a problem in combat. Your spells will auto lock on to the camera targeted enemy, but it's more so when you're trying to do puzzles within the game. You can see here I'm just failing hardcore. I mean, it could just be a skill issue, or I could just play with mouse and keyboard because the camera feels much better with that. But this kind of feels like the perfect Steam Deck kind of game. I'd really like to play this on a Steam Deck. The public playtest for this game did feel a bit on rails, but that could also be attributed to how the game plays outside of combat. The movement feels a little strange. There's no sprinting or jumping in the game. It is all auto, so if you come up to a ledge, your character will automatically jump over to the ledge. I find it's fine when you're inside the dungeons because the game all feels deliberately designed around that fact, but when we're outside of the dungeons in the hub areas, it's where it starts to feel a little bit odd. I had to think for a while about if I liked this or not. I've eventually realized that Persona 5 was designed in almost this exact way, and Dungeons of HInterberg borrows a lot from Persona. The relationship meters, the day, evening, night cycle, the way non-essential pedestrians seem to fade in and out of the world. Even the menus are definitely going for that Persona-like style. And so when I think about the linear design of the travel, I'm not worried because Dungeons of HInterberg is borrowing from the best. One thing I can see with the problem with this kind of traversal is that the hub areas seem to be a lot more open. So I feel like traversal might feel a little bit wrong because the game is designed with no jumping or much more traversal stuff. Like I said, I could be wrong when the full game comes out. I'm only kind of going off of what the playtest is giving me. And that in the game is going from different vibes. The hub areas, unlike Persona, can feature combat. The European mountain vacation setting, it's super unique. And the music is amazing. And let me tell you why. The one big thing I dislike about Dungeons of HInterberg is the art style. And I mean, for the most part, it's kind of okay. There is quite a bit of this game that is like textured with these like comic spots, and I'm sure you've seen this already through the footage. I don't really like how it looks. It seems kind of random to how it shows up. Like at first I thought it was just implemented in the shadows, but it's not. It's kind of just like randomly, sporadically textured on people and things. And that's like kind of set against the rest of the game, which feels like was thrown through a stylized Photoshop filter. It's super distracting to me, or at least it would be if the music wasn't on point, because the music is the linchpin that ties this game together. It sets the atmosphere perfectly. Everything from the combat music to the music that plays when you're exploring the town, it's good. And it's so good, in fact, that it helps me overlook the one thing that I kind of don't like so far about the game. I want to try and give you a proper example of what I'm talking about here, just so like I want to see if this is the same for anyone else. So let's take this scene here from the playtest that takes place just after the first dungeon. Louisa feels like she's gotten more than she's bargained for, and she's pondering her future, and we get this big wide background shot of the town. First off, I love the mountain background here and the night sky. Perfect. I wouldn't want to change any of this ever. Even those comic dots that I don't like in the clouds, that works for me. But it's kind of the rest of the scene that I'm not loving. The rock wall and the trees here that have that ugly Photoshop texture that I don't like, and it doesn't blend well with the comic dots texture here going on. And this house also just has a mixture of both, and there are also people phasing in and out of the background super quickly, and that kind of draws your eyes over there rather than like taking in the atmosphere. But if we ignore the people for now and just add in the music, it actually feels like it comes together. I mean, the music can't save how jarring the randomly phasing people are. And if there is one true negative that I can say about this game, is that this is immersion breaking. The phasing needs to be like less random and slower. Because even when you're just free roaming around the town, there are these people, non-essential NPCs walking about, and they will just like pop in and out of existence at random points, and it really does take me out of it. But like, point to like the more positive immersion things that this game does. I really like that the gear shop is based off of like an actual sports shop where you would actually go to buy gear. It kind of leans into that whole tourist thing that I really love. And I think the design of the entire town as well, just in general, is just fantastic. Like, I love the stone paved pathways and the designs of the buildings. I love the whole little European town vibes, and it is something that it nails like very, very well. Art style aside, I just like the whole general feel of it. Music just ties together the vibes so well. Overall, I came out of the Dungeons of HInterberg playtest with an extremely positive experience. Despite only playing a single hour of the game, I am excited, and I think I'll be giving this game a full review once it launches on July 18th, and I hope that the full thing is just as good. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like, and if you are new, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much to Controlled Killer for being the first person to support me with a YouTube membership. I don't really want to ask for money this early on in my YouTube career, but if you feel like my content is worth supporting financially, the option is there. And while I can't offer too much at the moment, you do get a little badge next to your name in the comments, and you'll get your name in the credits of each video as a personal thank you. I also have a community Discord server where you can suggest videos and chat with me or some of the other people that you may have seen around the channel, which is free to join. I've also started up a Steam curator page if you're interested in diving into more of my video game takes that may not make it into a full video. Links to everything in the description of the video, and thanks again for watching, and I will see you all next time. See ya.